Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be showing you all how to make these super cute hanging plants. I'll walk you through how to make all three styles as well as the soil and the hanging pot. They are super customizable and super fun to make, so without further ado, let's hop right in. Alright, for materials, you do need a few more things than usual, so as they're appearing on the screen, I'll also have them listed in the description box below. You will need a 4mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and a yarn needle to sew in your ends. For yarn, you are going to need 3 different colors. You'll need the color that you plan to use for the soil of the plant. I'll be using this dark chocolate colored brown. You'll need the color that you're using for the actual flower pot, so I'm using this light tan color. And then you'll need the color that you actually want the plant to be, and that is extremely customizable. You can make them pink, you can make them blue, you can make them purple, whatever you want. I really like this red heart yarn here, this variegated green yarn. It's called Green Tones, and for me, it just screams plant. I absolutely love it. Then the final thing you'll need is something to stuff the plant with. So you can either get this Polyfill stuffing. I get mine at Walmart, but you can also get it at any craft store. Or if you want a more sustainable option, if you are like me and you collect your yarn scraps or the tips of your yarn after you finish sewing in your ends, you can stuff your plant with this as well, and that's one less piece of yarn that's going to the trash. That is everything you need, so we will go ahead and get started. For this step, you will need your crochet hook and the yarn that you plan on using for the flower pot. To start off the flower pot for round 1, you're going to start with a magic ring. If you do not like using the magic ring method, you are more than welcome to do a chain 4 and work with that. It's whatever you're more comfortable with. Once you have your magic ring or your chain 4, I prefer to do a stacked single crochet rather than a chain 2, but please do whatever you are more comfortable with. So I'm going to do a stacked single crochet. And then I want a total of 12 double crochets going around this magic ring. So regular double crochets all the way around for a total of 12, and I will meet you at the end. Once you are done your 12 double crochets, you can pull your tail to close your magic ring, and then you will slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet that you created in order to close the first round. So your first round will look like this with a total of 12 double crochets. For round 2, you can either chain 2 or do a stacked double crochet, whichever you prefer, and you will complete 2 double crochets in each stitch around. This should result in you having 24 double crochets. So what I'm going to do is complete my stacked double crochet, and then another double crochet in the same stitch. So that is my first set of 2 double crochets. I'm going to go ahead and work 2 double crochets in each stitch around. Do the same, and I will meet up with you at the end of round 2. Once you're done and you've made sure that you have 24 double crochets around, you will go ahead and again slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet that you created. So this is the base of our flower pot. This will be the bottom of it. Now we're going to start working our way up the sides. To do so, you will chain 1, complete a single crochet, and then you are going to place 1 single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch around. We are no longer increasing. We want to do 1 stitch in each one, so we start building up the sides. So rather than going under both of these loops that you see here, you will complete each single crochet by going into the back loop only and working it up as normal. So go ahead and work around the entire thing, placing 1 single crochet in the back loop only of every single stitch. Now that we are back at the beginning of row 3, go ahead and complete a slip stitch in your first single crochet. And then rows 4 through 9 are going to be repeated, so they'll be exactly the same. You will chain 1 and place 1 single crochet regular in every single stitch around. No increases, go under both loops and place 1 single crochet in every single stitch for rows 4 through 9. That will give you a total of 7 single crochet rounds building up the wall of this flower pot. So continue to do that, and I will meet you when I'm done row 9 building up the wall of the flower pot. Now I've reached the end of row 9, so I've done my 7 rows of single crochet to build up the side of my flower pot. I'm going to do my final slip stitch to close that round. And then before we cut our yarn off, we're actually going to go ahead and make the little hang strap that you can use to hang it from your rear view mirror on your car, or a hook in your bedroom or near your desk, anything like that. So what you're gonna do from here is chain 40 and just regular chains, just like this. Go ahead and chain 40, and then I will meet back up with you. All right, once you've finished your chain 40, you can actually go ahead and cut your yarn. Leave a little bit of a tail, enough for us to sew with. And then you can just yarn over and pull through to knot it. From here, grab your yarn needle, and what we want to do is tie this end of the string to the 13th stitch on the flower pot. So right here is stitch number 1 where we started our chain. You want to count to the 13th stitch. So, all right, right here is my 13th stitch. I'm just gonna go ahead and stick my needle through that so I don't lose my place. And then you can make this straight, make sure all the V's are facing on top, make sure it's not twisted. And then this doesn't have to be a super dramatic knot, but just go ahead and knot the end of this string onto the flower pot. And I say this knot doesn't have to be too dramatic because it's going to get sewn over again and then get hidden. So there isn't really a chance of this coming undone. So once you go ahead, create your knot, here we go. You don't even have to cut this off because we are going to stuff this later. You can just stick the string in there and you have your string attached. To complete the soil, you only need to do 2 rounds of stitches. So grab the yarn that you want your soil color to be and your hook. You will do this very similar to how we did the base of the flower pot. You will complete a magic circle or a chain 4, whichever you prefer. You can chain 2 or you can do the stacked single crochet method. I'm going to do a stacked single crochet. And then complete a total of 12 double crochets around the magic loop. I will see you back at the beginning. Once you're done your 12 double crochets, you can pull the tail to go ahead and close up that ring, but you don't have to make it super tight because we will need to pull things through this hole later. So you can tighten it, but it doesn't have to be perfectly closed. Then what you'll do is slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet that you created. And then for round 2, you can either do a stacked single crochet or chain 2. And you will place 2 double crochets in each stitch around. So you will do an increase of 2 double crochets in all 12 of these, resulting in you having 24 double crochets at the end. So go ahead and work your way around, do 12 sets of 2 double crochet in each stitch. Once you're done your 24 double crochets, you can slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet of that round and you are done. You can chain 1 to make your knot and grab your scissors, and you want to leave a decently long tail because this is what we're going to use to sew the soil onto the flower pot later. So I'd say cut enough that you could go around here at least 3 times. I know it's not an exact inch measurement, but you want enough that you can sew around this and still have some to tie a knot at the end. So I cut myself a very long tail and then finish pulling that through. And just like that, we have our soil for our plant. The first plant type that I'm going to show you is going to be the classic curl. So go ahead and grab the yarn that you plan on using for the plant and your hook and we'll get started. Make yourself a slip knot, leaving somewhere between 5 or 6 inches of tail because you will need these later to tie a knot. And the length of any of these vines is entirely up to you and customizable. For today's example, I'm going to chain 25, but remember the length of the chain will control the length of your final vine. So if you want the vine to be longer, do more chains. If you want the vine to be shorter, do less chains. You can also stagger them on the plant. So if you're making 6 vines, let's say you make 3 of the vines starting with a chain 25 and the other 3 vines with a chain of 35. That way you have a more staggered look. So we're gonna jump right in and go ahead and chain 25 and I'll meet you at the end of that. Now that you've done your base chain, we did 25, we are going to start the very simple construction of this vine. So you are going to start working in these back bumps. So if you're looking at your vine, there's the top of these. These are the back bumps. We're going to work into these back bumps, and in each bump, starting from the second one from the hook, you are going to place 2 single crochets in every single bump. So work your way down this starting chain and do 2 single crochets in every single back bump. You will notice right away that it's going to start curling. You can see that right here. As you work it down, the corkscrew will start to appear. So go ahead and continue to do that 2 single crochet in every single stitch, and I will meet you back at the end of this chain. I just finished my last 2 single crochets in the last stitch of my chain, and this is how my curl looks. You can stretch it out to give it a little more drape, or you can leave it as a tight spiral. To finish it off, all you have to do, you don't even have to chain 1 to form the knot if you don't want to. You can just go ahead and cut a tail, make it just about match the original tail, and you will have this. You don't have to worry about knotting this right now because we're going to knot all of the vines together in order to attach them to your soil. But this is how you make a curly vine. The next plant style that I'm going to show you is a slightly fringy vine. A lot of people use them when they are making their wisteria plants. So what you will do is make a slip knot, leave yourself about a 5 to 6 inch tail so we can use it to tie a knot later. And again, like the other types of plant, your starting chain dictates how long your vine is going to be. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with a chain of 30. Now that you've finished your starting chain, I did 30. We are going to work in the back bumps of the chain. So again, this is the front V's of the chain, and these are the back bumps. We'll want to work into these. You will skip to the 5th bump on the chain. So this is the first one up against the last loop on your hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the 5th bump from the hook. What you will do is go ahead and stick your hook underneath it and complete a slip stitch. So this is what your work should look like. From here, you are going to repeat the same pattern. So you're going to chain 4 and then slip stitch into the next available bump. So you see that bump right there? That's where we're going to go and complete a slip stitch. Now chain 4 and make a slip stitch in the next available bump. It looks a little crazy at the beginning, but as you build up the vine, it will start to curl and have these little fringes that are being formed that will look like tiny leaves. So continuing on, you will chain 4 and slip stitch into the next available back bump and keep on doing that. I will see you at the end of this vine. So I've just finished my last slip stitch, and this is how your vine should look. If it's still acting a little wonky, you can manually twist it around and fix the curl to make sure they're all laying the same direction. But this one always has a very nice drape to it. These little loops look like leaves, and they are so nice. Again, when you're ending this vine, you don't have to tie any special knots or anything because you'll knot all of them together when it's time to tie them to the base. So grab your scissors and cut yourself a tail that is about the same length. Pull it through, and you have your vine. The last vine that we will be working on is the string of pearls. What's different about this one is that you can control the length of it as you're working. So there is no starting chain that will dictate how long this has to be. You can keep going as long or as short as you want while working on this vine. So leaving about a 5 or 6 inch tail, go ahead and make yourself a slip knot. The repeat that we're going to be doing on this is a little more complicated than the others, but you will get the hang of it with some practice. You will start with a chain of 7. Once you have your chain 7, you are going to yarn over and complete half of a double crochet into the second back bump from the hook. So you see the first bump, and then here is the second bump. I've already done my yarn over. I'm going to stick my hook through, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through, and then I'll stop. So now I have 2 loops on my hook. What we'll do is repeat that again. Yarn over, and in this loop that we're working into, work half of a double crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have 3 loops left on our hook. It should be looking like this. We are going to do that one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook into that loop we've been working into, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through just 2 loops. Now we have 4 loops on our hook, and it should look like this. From here, you are going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of these. And then from here, what I like to do is push this puff stitch forward a little bit with my finger so it's a little round, and then flip your puff over, and you can still see that loop we were working into, right? You will insert your hook into that loop and do a slip stitch. And that is how we make the pearls that are on this string of pearls. From here, we're going to repeat this process again. So chain 7, 1, 2, 3, And once again, we're going to start working those almost completed double crochets into the second back bump from the hook. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Once again, yarn over, insert into this loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then one more time, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Once you have 4 stitches left on your hook like this, you will yarn over and pull through all 4, and then flip your puff over and make a slip stitch into the loop that we were working in. So insert my hook and make a slip stitch. So you can continue to do this for as long as you want your string of pearls to be. That's why I stated that you can go as long as you want, and there's no starting chain that's dictating how long your string of pearls will be. All right, once you are happy with the length of your string of pearls, what you will do is grab your scissors, cut yourself a little bit of a tail, maybe 5 or 6 inches, yarn over, so yarn over and pull through to make a knot. And then using your yarn needle, we are just going to go ahead and take this end tail and stick it right through the middle of our pearl, just like that. Once we're sure it's all tucked in, you can take your scissors and cut very close to the bottom of that. And there you go, that tail is hidden and you have created your string of pearls. You can create as many of these as you'd like for your project, and again, you can make them as long or as short. You can make these chains in between, further apart or closer together. It is extremely customizable. Now that we've completed all the pieces, it is time to go ahead and get started constructing the plant. You should have your flower pot, your soil, and however many vines of your choosing that you'd like to have for your plant. First, we want to connect the vines to the soil. So you'll need these 2 pieces of the project and then something to fish these strings through the center of this with. And remember earlier I said don't seal the hole of the soil too tightly. We will need to pull strings through that. So you can either use your yarn needle or your crochet hook, whichever is easier for you. I'm just going to go ahead and use the yarn needle today. So gather your plants and however many you want to fish through at the same time. I'm just going to start with 2 for the sake of the demonstration. Pop those 2 strings on your yarn needle and then make sure the right side is facing up. Fish those tails down through that opening. Just like that. And you want to do that with all 6. So go ahead and take your time. You don't have to do them 2 at a time like I'm doing, but go ahead and fish all of your vines through the center of your soil, and then I'll meet up with you from there. Now that all of your strings are pulled through, it should look something like this. So you have the right side of your soil facing up, you have however many vines you chose to make, and then you have all of these strings coming out the wrong side of the soil. From here, you can pull that tail and go ahead and finish tightening that magic loop around these green strings. And then you can take all of them and tie one large knot very close to the base. So you see I'm pulling all of them, and just keep the knot as close to the base as possible. Pull them 2 or 3 at a time until you're certain that this knot is secure. There we go. And that none of them are going to slip out. And just like that, you've secured the center of the soil and all of the base strings of your tail. You can actually leave these long or trim them short. It is entirely up to you. These will be hidden inside the flower pot with whatever stuffing you choose to use later. So now we are ready to grab our flower pot and get on connecting the soil to the rest of the plant. For this step, you should have your flower pot, the soil and vines that we just connected, your yarn needle, and then off to the side you can have whatever polyfill or stuffing you plan on using. Remember, I said to leave a very long tail when we were done our soil. This is what we are going to use to attach the soil to our flower pot. So go ahead and thread that long tail onto your yarn needle and grab your flower pot. You can start wherever you'd like. It does not matter which stitch you start with, but you are going to work by sewing both loops of the brown from the soil. So you can see I'm going under both loops, and you are going to be sewing that to the back loop only, this inside loop of your flower pot. That will give us a nice clean edge still on the outside, as long as we're not touching this front loop here. So I'll go ahead and just start demonstrating. I want to go down and then right back up in the stitch that I came out of. Pull that tight, and I am ready to go ahead and start sewing around this edge. So continuing on with my needle, there should be the exact same amount of loops around the soil as there are on the flower pot. So just go straight into the next one. I'm going under the back loop only of the flower pot, and then up under the whole top of the stitch on the soil, and just continue to sew around just like this. It does not have to be super perfect. The vines honestly hang over this, especially if you've done the curlier vines or the more fringe looking vines, the wisteria kind. You won't even really see this edge. So it's okay if it looks a little wonky, but it should all line up, especially when you get to the strap that you secured. As long as it's attached somewhere in this stitch, that's okay. So I'm gonna work my way around most of the way, but you want to make sure you leave yourself an opening a little under halfway through. You want to leave yourself an opening so that we can put the stuffing in before we finish seaming it shut. So I'm gonna work my way around sewing and stop around here, and I'll rejoin you. So I have worked my way most of the way around. I'm almost done sewing this shut. I went ahead and tucked in those strings from the center of the dirt and my vines. And now you can take whatever filling you're going to use. It can be this polyfill, it can be yarn scraps, it can be whatever you want it to be. And just go ahead and fill up the pot as firm as you'd like it. There's really no rules to how much stuffing you put in here. Just go ahead and work that in until this is the firmness that you want. I may have actually pulled out the perfect amount. I tend to like mine a little fuller. I like them to look a little round. All right, so this is the firmness that I want. I have it all packed in. Go ahead and continue sewing this closed until you're all the way at the end, and then I will show you how I like to hide my tail at the very end. So I've reached my very last stitch. I'm going under it right here. And now you have completely sewn shut your little plant. You can go ahead and create whatever sort of knot you want. It doesn't have to be super big because you don't want it to be extremely noticeable. I'm just going to do a knot like that. And then to hide this string, just go ahead and poke it down through the soil and have the needle come out wherever you'd like. It can come out the bottom, it can come out the side. Just poke it out somewhere. Give it a nice tug to make sure that that knot folds in. And then you can grab your scissors and cut that nice and close. And there you go. It is hidden inside and you are finished with your plant. You can go ahead and reshape that however you please. Fix how you want the vines to hang. I did 6 vines, so I'm gonna kind of space them out, 3 on each side. And voila, you have your hanging plant. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you had fun making these crochet hanging plants. If you make your own, I would love to see them. Please share them on Facebook and Instagram and tag at DneaDesigns. If you'd like to see more content like this from me in the future, please like this video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on when I post something new. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye!